mean that you will be on YouTube. All right, so now I gotta broadcast you. Go live, plap, and then go. Updating settings for YouTube. Starting video transmission. Post a tweet. Bam. All right, looks like everything's good. All right, cool. So we are in. We are in it to win it. Lazy Gamer, what's going on? All right, so welcome to the No Filter Podcast. This is actually being broadcast on my YouTube channel, which is called Gamecast. That's actually going to change. It's going to change, but not right now. I'm not really focusing on that at this moment. I have some other things I want to do with the channel, but for the moment, the No Filter Podcast will still be there. Either way, we got some topics and subjects to talk about that's more pertinent than anything you have ever heard today. I'm just playing with you, but again, if you want to speak on the show, it will be recorded on YouTube. So you forfeit that particular right to be like, you can take me off of YouTube, so shut up. Anyway, let's begin. Two subjects: The Last of Us Remake, and what that means for the future PC releases. Because now we got some shit going on where it looks like Sony has a game plan for their PC releases, which is interesting, to say the least. So a lot of things are going on with that, and I want to talk about it. I'm going to talk about the game a little bit after my main topic here, but the second topic is Sony pushing people to PC? We had some interesting discussions over the last couple of weeks about that, and how people that weren't PC gamers all of a sudden became PC gamers when they purchased the PS5. That's the interesting bit. So, and that's what I want to talk about. So, without further ado, let me clear all this shit out and then start what we want to talk about here. There is this thing that I think his name is Gene. I got to see what it is. I screenshotted it. This is what I wanted to talk about because it's always this weird narrative when it comes to Sony shit. And I just never understand what's going on. You know what? Since this shit is probably, I don't know if you guys have had this issue with Google phones where you try to pull up pictures or whatever the case is from Google Pictures and photos, and it doesn't load because it's looking at the server or whatever, even though I have my fucking photos in my phone. Let's do this. On the YouTube channel, I will click onto this, and then I'll try to retweet. So his name is Gene. Let's see here. Parks? Yeah, Gene Park. And his asshat talks about The Last of Us, right? He talks about The Last of Us a couple of times. He says that Sony should actually go back to AA games so they can make games like The Last of Us Part 2, right? So again, his Twitter handle is, and I'll actually retweet this and put it into the space here. I really was like, homie, what? Oh, I can't do it here. I have to do it here. Okay, cool. He says that Sony should do, and I've talked about this before, so they should do AA games. So games like The Last of Us, I see you here. I see you requested. Games like The Last of Us Part 2 could be made because he just loves that game so much. He loves it so much. And now his tune is different, which is interesting, you know? People are calling them Nintendo fanboys. And I'm trying to find it here. Okay, cool. So we're gonna share this here in the space so you guys know or have some context with it, right? Oh yeah, and I gotta add you in there. My bad, broskies. Dap and Lazy Gamer. Give me a holler or a hooter. Yep, I
Yo,
hear you.
can you hear
Done.
me?
Oi.
What?
What? What? Oi.
How you doing, my brother?
What's going on, man? Stretching my
Man.
legs, my leggings. I'm a
Your
little,
leggings.
I'm a little low energy right now. Trying to
Why? You
nothing really.
fasting?
I am. I just ate, so that's probably why I'm like, in the
Oh
basement right
man.
now. With energy. I'm always fasting somewhere.
Yeah, but then you get an itis, baby.
You get massive itis, man. That shit's fucking insane. So what's going on, lazy?
Nothing much. I just was going to comment on what you were saying about the push for PC on Sony.
Pushing PC. Okay, all right.
No, no, no. So I don't think that Sony is pushing PlayStation people to PC. What I think is happening is last generation Xbox lost by a lot by numbers for total like audience, right? As far as consoles out there. So what did Microsoft do? They started expanding beyond the console to PC and to streaming. So if you look at PlayStation, they have a certain addressable market of say 100 million or whatever it is their consoles are. There's plenty of PC gamers that don't play on console. If they want to expand the sales of their first party and their software, their games, they have to expand their market the same way Xbox did when they realized they weren't winning that on console last generation. So the push to PC to me is just like growing their addressable market, a la the amount of people that can buy their game. So like for example, like for Elden Ring, had all those sales, but it's cross-platform. If they're still trying to win the narrative of like the best console, going on PC doesn't hurt that because a lot of people that are loyal to one console really don't care at the end of the day. They just want bragging rights against the other console. It doesn't really hurt them in any way for it to be on PC.
Now I will say this. This is something that if you've never been on this particular space or interacted with me, this is something that I do talk a lot about. And I want to absolutely destroy the fanboy rhetoric. I'm sick of it. I'm absolutely tired of the fanboy rhetoric. I can't deal with it anymore. So when I mean, and I think you're 100% correct. First and foremost, because Twitter, you can only put so many spaces in there, and even if I did have enough time, or they gave me enough characters to put what I wanted in there, nobody would read it. Or if they did read it, they'll just misinterpret it as something completely different. But I'll say this for on record. I mean, inadvertently push people to PC. It was just a kind of a little thought that I had. Um, so I want to address this a little bit more, but I structured the subjects in such a way to kind of lean into it. But I'll definitely go and I will explain what I mean in detail so you understand where I'm coming from. Quite simply, there was a lot of people that just wasn't really fucking with PC, and I wouldn't say a lot of people because I don't have any kind of demonstrative info on it. But from what I could see here, there were a lot of people that once Sony started putting games on PC, that's when they were like, I'm buying a PC because what's the fuck is the point of having a PlayStation if you're going to put it on PC? And we already knew like the rhetoric behind that, or we already knew their motive for wanting things. I addressed this on Wednesday, so on the YouTube channel, which is Gamecast, right? I addressed this. I said all the fanboys that sit out there and claim that it shouldn't go anywhere because you devalue the platform, be quiet. I say be quiet because there are a lot of games that Sony did make that I would love to have a sequel to, and it will never happen. Sony closed them down because them fucks didn't buy the game. You know why? Because it wasn't critically acclaimed.
Mm-hmm.
And since it wasn't critically acclaimed, they can't use it as ammunition for Twitter wars and console wars. So they just forgot about it. Days gone. I guarantee you, Days Gone got a 90, it would have been the best thing since Jesus Christ. But since it wasn't, and people were making fun of it, they called it mid. Shit, they called Horizon Zero Dawn mid. And that's cool if you don't like the game, I get it. But this was a different type of dislike. This wasn't a dislike because, oh, I didn't like the game. This was like, oh, I don't know you because, you didn't, I can't use you for ammunition. That's the thing. But it's curious to see, which is now I'm going to go back to the first topic, and then I'll get back to it. I promise. I'll go back to the PC situation. It goes without saying when it comes to The Last of Us, right? I've seen a couple people, you never know because people are insane nowadays. if it's satire, or if they're joking, or if it's like serious. You know what I mean? They said that if The Last of Us remake goes to the PC day and date, they are selling their PS5. I've seen that floating around too, which was like, are you fucking for real? And I keep telling people over and over again, right? The Last of Us, I'm sorry, excuse me, the PlayStation 5 has a specific market that doesn't overlap into any other gaming sector or any other gaming platform. People that buy consoles don't have time for this shit. And I had somebody come in there and talk about, oh, you could get the the GeForce 1080 or 1080 or whatever the case is, and it could do better than the PlayStation 4. But I'm like, and it's only $180 or $200, and I'm like, you failed to mention the case, the RAM, the CPU. It's like DMX. The case, the RAMs, the CPU. That's what it was, though. They forgot all that other shit. You're not going to get anything like a PlayStation 4 or PlayStation 4 Pro because the game is catered to that hardware. It ain't the best, but you're going to need a lot more money to go forward and play that type of game. So usually when it comes to consoles, right? Consoles are there for a low barrier of entry. If you don't have enough money or if you don't want to put up with the little nagling things of a PC. So that's where I stand, Lazy. You still there?
Yeah, no, I'm still there. And again, I preface this by I have a Series X, I have a PS5, I have a Quest, I have a Switch, I have a gaming PC. I prefer playing on PC, but for exclusive, and I also have kids, stuff like Game Pass, I have Xbox. So when I want to play, I play most of my stuff on PC, but I can play my exclusive without waiting any window on my PlayStation. I can play my Switch. My kids can play games on Game Pass on their Xbox when I'm using my PC. So I have like all the devices. I don't see the argument with people saying if you have, I can see them saying you don't need an Xbox if you have PC, but not a PlayStation, just because until the eventuality of if all the exclusives go day one, even if that happens, there is, even though a lot of the sales and stuff for say Steam or stuff like for long term, you may actually eventually end up recouping the difference in cost of the hardware. Just by the digital sales that are normally on Steam and stuff like that. The problem is most people are not going to do that upfront sticker price. They're not going to pay the $1,000, the $800. Like I have a 3080 in my rig, and when the new generation comes, I get like a 4080. Most people aren't going to spend like $800, $1,000 on a graphics card by itself if they want a game.
This is very true. The situation is completely different when it comes to Sony and PlayStation versus Microsoft and Xbox. The biggest problem, and I get that you like Game Pass and stuff like that. The Game Pass works wonderfully if you want easy access or if you want a cheaper alternative for third-party games, because Lord knows first-party games ain't anywhere to be really seen of any kind of meaningful amount.
Well, okay, so what I'll say is you are correct. The reason I originally got Game Pass was for third-party stuff. Like for example, now on Game Pass, I'm paying the Mass Effect collection. Before that, I played the Yakuza games. I play a lot of third-party on there, but like the way I look at it is, I'm a person that still likes Halo. Okay, I love Gears. I actually play Horizon. My son plays Flight Simulator all the time. So like, there's a couple games that where if I were to buy them individually, that would have recouped the cost of the subscription. So it makes sense to me. But the caveat I will give is, as of a month or two ago, I no longer pay for Game Pass because I work for Microsoft in security. Nothing gaming related. But the caveat is I paid for it before, so I still had service since before I was an employee, and I was going to continue to pay. But I will caveat that I no longer have to pay for the service.
So let me throw this at you, right? Because I always love having these conversations for people that like a brand. If you like a brand, you like a brand, you like a brand. No one's pissed off at the fact that you like a brand, right? It's when it gets to the fanboy territory and you start, downplaying everything the fuck else is when it gets very irritating, right? So I'm sure you already know, flat out.
Like Kid Smooth.
Oh, definitely.
Kid Smooth and all what is it, Cole Eastwood, all these, but they're getting paid for. Well, no, not Kid Smooth, but Cole Eastwood, he's getting paid on a low or some sort of doggy bag treat.
100%.
You know what I'm saying? So that's him. You know what I mean? I got that.
Or if they're not getting paid, then what the hell are they doing?
Well, that's a whole other issue. I feel and
getting them free clothes.
well, you're getting their back blown out. Here's the thing. I see this, right? This is just I'm going to take a side tangent here. And I start realizing how susceptible people are to bombardment of ideology. I didn't realize that if you keep telling somebody something, they will eventually believe it. I had no idea it was that serious en masse. That shit is mind-boggling that you could tell somebody something and they'll believe it. People kept telling people that Game Pass was the shit. You like Halo, cool. You like Gears of War and Forza, whether it be Horizon or just the motorsport, right? Let me ask you. It's been 6 years since Game Pass came out. 4 or 6 years. What was it?
Yeah, it's been some years.
About 6?
Well, say that's fine.
All right, let's say 5. There's a cut in the middle, right? If they took out all third...
Damn, it's been out for 5 years already.
Probably.
I don't care. I want you to get to the point. It doesn't matter if it's 3, 4, 7, 10. I just want to know what the point of what you're getting at, because the number of years doesn't.
I mean, it kind of has something to do with it, and the reason why I say this is because if it was 2 years old, then maybe there would be some sort of okay, I can understand it. But if it's been this long, okay, if Microsoft did not make exclusive deals with third party, would you get Game Pass?
No, but the caveat I will give to that, and this is kind of the reason also I've kind of justified it for people, is also, you remember back a couple E3s ago when they were announcing the Game Pass stuff, right? That $1 deal that they have that I think you can still get, and the amount of like nobody I know that has Game Pass pays full price. No, most people I know have the dollar deal for the couple years, whatever, where as long as Microsoft has those kind of things available to their people that are worried about like paying the money and not getting the worth out of it, there's ways to get it at low to very low cost, like a super low cost, where until they like get more first party, more of those things that are sought after, as long as they continue to have deals like that, I'm fine with it, because most people, if they actually really are worried about $15 a month or $10 a month or whatever, there's ways to like significantly save on that in the meantime until they do get the things that people feel will give it the value they want.
All right, so
for the record,
yeah, go on.
Game Pass came out on June 1st, 2017, so it's 5 years old. So the anniversary was 10 days ago.
All right, so my reason, reason it was this, and I say exactly what I say. You saying the caveat is it's just $1. Is that correct?
That or cheaper, and in all honesty, I mostly got on the service because I played the third party games on PC. I didn't play it.
But I'm making a point here, right? And my point is this is the difference between Sony's service and Xbox service. Remove the third party, and what do you have? You know what I'm saying? If you decide to pay $1 for 5 years, here's the thing: just because somebody gave you something for free, don't mean that you want it. You know what I'm saying? If somebody,
okay, but then, again, what I'm saying. So even if we're taking the full value, right? Mm-hmm. Again, I'm speaking personally. I'm not speaking for others.
And I'm speaking hypothetically. It's okay to generalize it, because if you start doing this splitting hairs, like me personally, it's not addressing the issue when we know generally.
No. I'm not saying. I'm saying because, for example, Gears, out of all this the properties for Xbox, Gears is my favorite franchise. But a lot of people out here will say, well, they got another Halo, another Gears, another Forza. That's not their games. That's fine. But to me, I was going to buy them games anyway. And after buying 2 or 3 of those over a year, that would have been the cost of the service. For me personally, that's what I say for me personally, because other people like, who cares about Flight Simulator? My son plays it all the time. He's autistic. He's younger. He likes those type of things. There's enough games that they do have, even first party, that buying 1 or 2 games a year would end up being about the cost of what Game Pass would be if I just had Game Pass at $10 a month.
Right.
What are we
my question? No, I'm about to get there. So my question to you was, and you answered it already, but then you threw in a caveat. And I'm going to take your first answer without the caveat. I said, if you remove third party, would you get Game Pass? The answer was no. Period. I'm not going to split hairs or whatever the case is. My point that I'm trying to make in a very direct way is that there's not a lot of value. Microsoft is not making a compelling value argument with just their services. When it comes to Sony, hold on.
This is what I was saying. Netflix did the same thing. They filled all their stuff with third party stuff first until they eventually got the subscribers. They got the money.
I get that. I wasn't finished. I totally understand that. Right? But it's not like you're getting every third party or most third party or the biggest third party. You're getting games like Outriders and other games that are either struggling or new IPs that nobody knows anything about.
But Josh, would you not agree though that Microsoft they're not really looking to please people like me and you?
No.
They're looking to get.
Removing.
Hold on. Give me 2 seconds. Their whole concept is it doesn't really matter about the quality of games because the average consumer they haven't got a fucking clue what's on Game Pass. They just look at it like, okay, this is going to cost this much money. There's a car game on there. There's a shooting game on there. There's an airplane game on there. There's a fighting game. They don't care because in their mind, it's saving them money. Like, I don't agree with the model, but for the average person, not us guys speaking in a space or nothing like that, we're really hardcore gamers. We really spend money on the industry. But the average consumer, if they're just thinking, look, I can spend, $10, $14 a month. You're telling me I've got all these games. They don't care.
My point is this.
It's saving their money.
My point is this. The situation, this is what I was trying to say. And let me loop it back to the original conversation. This is about the idiots that are saying that if The Last of Us remake comes out for PS4 or PS5 and PC at the same time, they're selling their PlayStation. That's what I'm trying to go.
Yeah, but then
this argument got completely out of orbit here. My point is, right, is that the situation between Sony and Microsoft is a different situation. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think it's two different
because not only do they cover the third party, and they're pretty decent and big services. I mean, even if you don't want to count day and date, okay, fine. The amount of games that are on the services on top of their own offerings was making a compelling situation. So my whole situation was going back, and I know it seems like it's really out there, was these fanboys that came out of nowhere that said that I want games to stay on PlayStation and nowhere the fuck else because it's a PlayStation thing and they don't deserve it, basically, right? That's what their argument was. And my statement was, you sit there and you only buy the critically acclaimed so you can use that shit as fanboy rhetoric. Right, that was my original situation for bringing up The Last of Us and just PC gaming in general. What I believe Sony is going to do. But I wanted to touch base because I wanted to ask you guys a question anyway, since you guys are here. So you got this Gene Park dude, right? He makes a lot of terrible takes in general for anything. It doesn't matter what it is. He's known to be a Nintendo dude. He has a fucking Kirby avatar off rip. You know what I'm saying? That already knows. You can already make an educated guess as to where he lays. So he starts off by saying that he wants games to be, and I'm just bringing the conversation back to where it was. He wants Sony to make AA games because he's so tired of the AAA format, and then he tried to clean it up later on. Fine, but now he's saying this. He says, "I love The Last of Us Part 2, but this shows the more narrow appeal of Sony IPs. Splatoon has sold more. Luigi's Mansion 3 has sold 2. It's why Sony games are going to TV and movies. Jim Ryan told me he wants Sony IPs to work harder. IP saturation is an ongoing process that's firing up," right? And now we're going to talk about The Last of Us. And it could work. The Dragon Age and Cyberpunk anime already make me want to revisit both games. I guess he's talking about the anime. But I get home and I start a new Dragon Age Inquisition run. all this multimedia crap works on people like me. Anyways, what I'm saying is that PlayStation should lead into Astrobot, because Astrobot VR is one of the most brilliant platformers ever made. I'd rate it above some Mario games, and he wants a sequel to it, as if it's not going to fucking happen. But what's your guys' take on this one?
Who wants to start?
I'm gonna just say I don't give a fuck what Gene Park says. Like, I'm like, the game Splatoon came out in 2017 and Last of Us came out in 2022. 2020. So of course it had more time to get more sales. Like, I don't know what this makes no sense.
No. I think and again, I'm not defending him, but I think what people have tried to say about some Sony first party stuff is when they look at like attach rate, like number of total units of, like, say you have 1 million users or 100 million users, when they're talking about the total percentage of your console sold to like your marquee titles, how many they sell, like Nintendo usually, I think from a percentage wise, more people that have Switch will buy Breath of the Wild or like some other titles that are popular on the Switch versus like a God of War or something that's like the marquee game.
You can't use the Switch because the Switch has a lack of third party. They don't have most third party games, so the predominant games you can only buy on Switch are going to be first party. Like, also, Elden Ring, right? People want to talk about Elden Ring, but when you look at the overall attach rate, you have over 300, 400 million different platforms you can choose from, and it only sold like 13 million. So that's a shitty attach rate. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like, this attach rate argument. Feel like PlayStation needs to bring their stuff to PC because they need to make the pool bigger so they can get more sales.
And that's what Sony and that's what
real quick though, if they have 120 million PS4s roughly out there, they had the opportunity to sell 120 million. So it's not like they don't have a lack of a pool.
But they did.
It's just because look, all games aren't going to be great. Like The Northman, right? That's a great movie, right? But not everybody's going to go see that movie over Top Gun. Some things just sell differently, no matter how many people can get it. Like, it doesn't. I don't understand this attach rate argument.
But narrative as well.
I'm saying the attach rate argument.
Hold on. Yeah, let Dan go.
Yeah, I'll put my hand on next time. I can't get a word in. But narrative as well from Nintendo and the media. Come on, guys. We know how the media treat Nintendo. Anything they make is like fucking unicorn magic. Even if it's a load of shit, it's like 9 out of 10, 10 out of 10. They just constantly, that narrative that gets fed out into the public eye for any software from Nintendo, it's going to sell better than Sony product. There's just nothing they can do about that. Doesn't matter. How many games have Sony released compared to Nintendo where we can probably objectively say this PlayStation game is clearly better than this Nintendo game? But it's irrelevant because the narrative won't ever be spun that way. And we know that. Come on.
And again, what I'm saying is, even if you say you have 100 million, I'm throwing a number. I'm not saying it's that or less or more. Even if you have, say, 100 million on PlayStation, say there's another 100 million PC gamers that don't overlap with PlayStation. Now, I'm just making up numbers. Even if you sold to all 100 million of those, wouldn't you still want another 100 million or 50 million or 20 million possible sales into that same IP?
Want as many as possible.
I don't think anybody in this room, just to let you know, is arguing that it's a better business decision to be placed on the different consoles. I mean, the different platforms. No one's at least I hope they're not arguing, because you would be a dummy if you argue.
No, and I'm just saying I'm just saying in the argument of PC, not on Xbox, whatever. Because again, most people that are console wars, console whatever, they mostly care about it's on PlayStation or on Xbox, or it's on Xbox on a PlayStation, and that's why I don't understand why people are so upset on the PlayStation side for PC people, because it's like Sony makes the money regardless.
We already know what it is. The thing that's the whole thing is. See, the thing is there's this fucking superiority complex. There's this tribalism. There's a lot of stupid shit going on, which is very irritating. The bottom line is this: these so-called fanboys did not support the other games that were unique to PlayStation, or gave that type of unique non-AAA feel. They didn't buy that shit. They didn't buy The Last Guardian. They didn't really buy Gravity Rush. They didn't buy fucking Hot Shots. They didn't buy any of that fucking shit.
Yeah, and also, like, case in point, for example, I remember when Returnal dropped, because we was doing the podcast. And
didn't buy that either.
No, but here's my point, and here's the difference. See that Returnal game? When I first saw it, I thought, you know what? I don't know if this is my kind of game, if I'm gonna like it, but I still bought it because I knew they was not going to get the backing and support. We spoke about that like months before it released. We said this ain't gonna do. We said this ain't gonna do numbers, bro. But me and you said, you know what? Even though it's not gonna do numbers, we're still gonna pre-order. We're still gonna buy it because we're trying to show our commitment to Sony. Like, no, make these products. But the average Joe is just not buying these games, bro.
They're not.
It's just
not even. It's not even just average Joe. You know what it is? Like I said before, these fucking, and I forgot to mention this shit the last podcast. You know what these PlayStation fanboys remind me of? And I will not get a PC. I definitely won't get an Xbox, and I won't get a Nintendo console. Let's get that out the way, right? But I'm not a fanboy either. You know what I'm saying? Because that's a whole different breed of person. But what they remind me of, right? They remind me of Marvel fans now. Not Marvel fans that read the comics. I'm talking about the ones that just started when Iron Man came out. That's what they remind me of. You're not fucking about it. Y'all only like it because other people like it or because it got a rating. You don't know the history of the fucking comics. Nor do you give a fuck about it. That's why things could be retconned, remixed, reverbed, chopped and screwed, and they don't know or care about why it changed. Because they want to be on a fucking bandwagon. Sony's popular, and they want to get on the bandwagon, and they associate their success with their own. They want to be, they associate PlayStation with them. So what they ended up doing for the past 8 years, and I get why some people ended up buying the PlayStation, right? For numerous reasons. There were the actual hardcore fans that weren't fickle, that always bought PlayStation. And then there were the people that actually bought PlayStation because they didn't want to pay online. And there was just people that wanted a Blu-ray player and then ended up fucking buying the exclusives or whatever the case is. And that's when they became a fan, quote unquote, right? So you got this situation going on. And then everybody was shitting on PlayStation back in 2006, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12 until The Last of Us came out, which was 2013. That's when people took Sony seriously, really fucking seriously. It was too hard to deny that company is trying to make really, really good games, a cut above what they could basically do a cut above. And because of that shit, it created these monsters that they're thirsty for awards and accolades and Metacritics and just other success. They want to be validated by somebody telling them that the game is good. That's what the fucking Days Gone didn't do. Well, it did well enough, but it didn't do the numbers that it should have done. It came out buggy or whatever the case is. It's fine. So I'm glad that Sony's not fucking listening to these people because guess what? If it did, the fucking company would collapse. I mentioned the story time before, and I'm going to reiterate the situation, which is the story of Family Guy. It came out in 1999. It wasn't the biggest fucking budget, but I liked it. It was funny. It was my cup of tea, right? And Family Guy was locked behind Fox Network. Nobody from Fox Network, the people that watched it, they didn't want to watch it. They wanted to watch The Simpsons. They tried putting it near The Simpsons so you can get that synergy. They still didn't want the fucking Family Guy. So their contract was done, and then they didn't want to broadcast the shit anymore. They went to Cartoon Network and broadcast the shit on Adult Swim, which had a much, much larger user base and wasn't in competition with The Simpsons. It blew the fuck up. Then Fox came back to fucking Seth MacFarlane. It was like, please, can you make other episodes or whatever the case is? That's the situation that would have happened if they listened to the fucking ponies. You can only grow but so fucking much. It's only a certain amount of consoles that sells. Sony expanded it as far as it can fucking go. And Microsoft really didn't do anything to expand it at all, nor did Nintendo. Nintendo took their fucking pie piece and kept that shit moving. Microsoft was so egregious with the shit that they incorporated and made microtransactions exist. And it also made people focus on multiplayer games, which basically got rid of the diversity in the games in general. Everybody was chasing that fucking Halo money at the time. So now we're stuck at 200 million consoles that could be sold all together. And these games budgets are not getting smaller. And Sony fans want the best of the fucking best, which is going to require a lot of fucking money every time. You want Peach Fuzz? I give that shit to him. When Gene Park said that, oh, we got games with Peach Fuzz, and I feel like that's a waste of resources. I don't think it's a waste of resources, but he has a point. You want all them fucking Peach Fuzz and pores and shit like that it's going to cost money. And guess what? Y'all niggas don't buy the shit. Y'all don't buy it. Don't fucking complain when somebody wants more money, because I guarantee you, if you're in the same spot as Sony, you would have did the same fucking things. And to be frank, the developers that you like so fucking much, the Santa Monica Studios that make God of War, the Naughty Dog that makes The Last of Us, they want to go to fucking PC because y'all bitch ass don't buy games that's not critically acclaimed.
Facts. Say that shit again, baby.
I'm tired of this shit. So, either way, now that we got The Last of Us nonsense out the way, because it's not, I think personally what's going to happen, I was thinking that they were going to go date with their games. But then I'm looking at it now, it would a little bit cannibalize, or at least take the win, a little bit of win from under the wings of these exclusives that comes out. Either the PlayStation would suffer a little bit in sales, or the games would suffer a little bit in sales. There's such thing as exclusivity that just makes things feel more important. That's why these bitch-ass, rich-ass people that go to fucking Costco think they better than everybody. And they got to pay a $50, $60 membership. But it's like,
hey, man, that Costco hot dog's dope, though, man. And the pizza's nice.
No, but that's how they were. To be like, I'll get the exclusive Costco, I don't know, pizza or Costco beef. And that's how they are.
Everyone wants to be at the country club, baby. Everyone wants a little, like, you know what I mean? A little VIP room.
It's the country club effect. So you don't want to really eat into that one, because you start you start disrupting the balances. I get it. Totally understand. But you still want to expand your user base, which is the reason why they're doing movies and TV shows and you got all this shit going on. They only have a certain amount of people that could literally port the game over to PC. So the amount of games and IPs that Sony is making, they can't force the developers to start keeping into account PC development, because they got to make their own game with the limited resources that they got. Because Sony is not $1 trillion company, let's be real. So they have a company, Nixxes, Bluepoint, that will be able to actually port the game over. Now all the assets are done. All you got to do is think of different configurations that are on the market in terms of the PC and release it. That takes time, probably about 3 months. So I believe at maximum at minimum, it's going to be a 3-month lag time in between release for PlayStation and PC. I guarantee you The Last of Us will probably come out, what is it, June? When does it come out? September?
September. September.
It's going to come out in December for PC.
And I guarantee that close. Wow. I'm thinking more 6 months. But that December makes sense, because it has to drop before the HBO series, and it has to marinate. It can't just drop, do you know what I mean? It has to come out. So yeah, I can see December, a nice little Christmas package.
Let's not act like this is a new game though. It's just a remake. I mean, they can put it out at the same date if they wanted to. You know what I mean?
I'm not saying that they're holding it back because somebody's feelings. I'm saying they have limited resources. That's all I'm saying. And it takes a certain amount of time. I think they're going to put it out as quickly as possible, which, given the amount of staff they have, is probably going to be a 3-month deal. That's all I'm saying.
They still haven't put out fucking Uncharted, and they announced that shit before Spider-Man, but Spider-Man got a date and Uncharted doesn't have a date.
That's
a good point.
I think, but The Last of Us is bigger than Uncharted in terms of how much impact it has. I mean, I know number-wise you can count all the Uncharted, but if you want to scale it to,
I don't know, man, because you got to think about the movie, because the movie was doing numbers, the amount of numbers that movie's done has broke records that Sony wasn't even think was possible. So ideally, wouldn't they want that on PC now to get more eyes on the franchise and the IP?
I think something happened though. I don't think that's because they're delaying it. I think something actually happened with that one. I think I don't think that it was in the new way of them doing things at that time.
Okay.
I think The Last of Us was already taken into account that the PC was going to come out.
Yeah,
And like I said before, my whole thing is maybe it will be 6 months, but my idea that you got a show coming out. The movie already came out for Uncharted, so that's done. They don't have to rush for it. But what they want to do is reinforce, and the show is actually following the storyline of The Last of Us like to a T, from what I can see. Like it's really like they're doing beat for beat. So if people see the show and they
Are you
kind of
looking
want
forward to it, Josh? Because I remember when it first got announced, it was a bit like 50-50. Are you looking forward to seeing it now, or?
Oh no! I still don't want to see it. If anybody want to know something about me, I don't like the direction that Naughty Dog is going. I'll leave it at that.
This nigga does not fuck with Neil Druckmann.
Like
you
across the
hate
board.
that guy.
What I will say is what needs to be thought about, and I can't speculate, but I'll put this out here. Why did Jason Schreier put out that Naughty Dog lost 70% of their workforce? What was the reason for that? Kind of curious. And just in general, Amy Hennig and all that other shit, the Naughty Dog never had that particular issue until The Last of Us Part 1 came out. And I feel like some people got a little gassed up and did what they did. That's what I think. So either way, I'm going to go to what we know about The Last of Us, because that's what I want to talk about. So we know it's going to have enhanced graphics. I think that little swampy area with the reflections that they showed, I think they're going to have real ray trace reflections and shit like that. If games probably going to be running at 1440p for ray tracing to even happen at all. That seems to be a good number. It's already running at 60 frames a second. So I think that's going to be the number anyway. They said that they're going to basically add exploration elements into the game itself that they always wanted to do in the original game but couldn't due to either time constraints or technology constraints. They said that the actual motion capture is still using the original one, but they are tweaking the faces and stuff like that. As you already know, they already are using the models from The Last of Us Part 2, which is a smart thing to do. So we got that information. But what is curious to me, this is what I want to talk about. And I'm on record for saying this shit. Let me note the time in this bitch. What time is it? So in 48 minutes of this podcast, we all know that the story was retconned to a degree. And if you say otherwise, fuck you. That doctor, which was an NPC, didn't look anything like the doctor from the second one. Not only that, then not the same voice actor. The situation was just not really there like that. So what I think is going to happen, if you don't know what happened to The Last of Us, well, I don't know what to tell you, but I think they're going to start adding extra pieces of the story to tie in The Last of Us Part 2. And maybe it's going to go something like when Joel breaks into the hospital, right? What was the guy's name again? Jim, what the fuck was his name?
John? I don't fucking know.
The guy, the doctor that got killed by Joel.
Yeah, nobody knows.
Whatever the fuck his name is, I guarantee you they're gonna pour it on so thick to validate The Last of Us Part 2, yo. I know it in my heart and in my loins. I know it.
You know what? I can see that because they was never happy with the reception of Last of Us 2.
He gonna break in there.
Jerry.
He gonna break in there, right? He be like, please, I got a daughter. Her name is Abby. Please don't do this to me. We're so close. We're so close to finding a cure. Please don't. I don't give a fuck about you. I'm just going to save my surrogate daughter.
I don't think they're gonna add any extra lines.
How much you would have bet, Jemiah?
I bet you the game. How about
that? I'll do it. Yeah. We're on record. We're on record. I guarantee you're going to add extra glaze to that storyline.
I'm pretty sure they already said that they didn't add anything extra.
They said that they're going to do things to modernize it and shit like that. I got to pull up the receipt, but I guarantee you that's what's going to happen. Please, are you Joe Miller? Look, I don't want no problems. I heard you did horrible things. I heard you was a horrible man. Please, I got a daughter. Please. She's just so young. And then you're going to kill her, right? You're going to stab him in his throat. And then you're going to see Abby in the background. Oh, no, Daddy, please. Please,
Well,
why did you do
the
that?
thing is though, is the doctor could have just let the nigga take him. He decided to fucking pull up the scalpel and try to attack Joel, so that's his own fault.
It ain't gonna be. Like, it ain't gonna be in this. It's not going to be in this game, yo. That's not.
I'm just saying, if you're not a fighter, bro, don't try to fight people. You know what I mean? Like, I don't understand when people aren't fighters, they try to fight people. Like, that's what you.
Yo, but Jerry looked muscular, yo. He looked big too.
Nah,
in the second one,
not in the flashback.
No, not. Well, he was big enough. I think he could have took. He could have took Joe. I think so. I think he could have did it, but well, no. If he would have gave some work. But either way, that's what I think is going to happen. They're going to add extra stuff because they already calling The Last of Us Part 1. They already retconning shit and making it seem like it was always all this shit is along. I get it. It's a sequel. Fine. But I'm not going to buy the game, but it would have gave a better chance for me buying the game if that Neil Druckmann nigga wasn't there. That's all I'm saying. He's too full of himself. Sick of it. But here's some interesting stuff about the multiplayer. They showed a screenshot, it seems, right? And the screenshot looked really fucking interesting. If I can pull up some of the things that they did say, I think Thrash was talking about some shit too. That he thinks that it's going to be like Fortnite. You know, like you have like the little shield or force field or whatever the case is. I think that he was saying, this is what Thrash was saying. He thinks that it's going to be like a cloud that is going to close your guys in, and you have to work smaller. And I feel like, according to the art, that's probably what's going to be. But The Last of Us Part 2, looking at the screenshot and what they say is going to happen with a mixture of the zombies and the mixture of what do you call it? The actual PvP could be something special. It could be something special. Lazy, what you think about this shit? Like, what's your favorite game on PlayStation? Let me ask you that.
In all honesty, it's Persona.
Persona? First party.
First party, probably Last of Us.
The Last of Us?
Although but even with that being Last of Us, I'm still not going to buy this fucking remake.
Why not?
Because I already own it. I've played it on PS3. I've played it on PS4. I barely ever replay games, even my favorite games. So I'm not going to rebuy it again.
I mean, you already... did you buy the PS3 version?
Yeah. Well, I have the PS4 version.
Okay. So and then you saying that's it for you. So you don't even want to know what they're going to...
Just like, for example, I really like Spider-Man, but I wasn't going to give them extra money for the remastered for PS4, but I bought Miles Morales.
Right. Okay. So you're saying that this is a rip. That's another thing too that needs to be talked about. Apparently, it costs too damn much money. Damn, what you gotta say about that shit?
Well, the thing, I mean, also just from a cost standpoint, look at the remakes for what was it, Resident Evil 2 and 3. Those are like $40 brand new when they got the remasters. I don't know what the 4 is going to be, but like all those other ones had remasters at 40, and I was just like outraged. It's like, if it was like 40 or less, I may consider it on sale, but not like, oh, you're gonna hit me up for $70.
But
yeah,
you have like you have a 3080 though. You're not strapped for cash. What happened?
No, no matter how much money I make, I'm not gonna give money to people just to be giving money to people. I didn't grow up that way. So I'm not gonna throw money away like that. And I got kids. I'd rather buy more stuff for my kids.
Well, this is what they say. Now I'll let you speak then in a second. They say brand new AI, 60 frames a second, new combat scenarios. That don't tickle your fancy? You don't want it?
Fuck no.
Oh. What you gotta say, Dan?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, like, for me, like, we have it's an expensive habit. Like,
real quick though, Resident Evil Remake was 60. It wasn't 49 when it came out. I just wanted to double check that.
Oh, so it came down then, right?
It came out at full price, yeah.
Okay, well then I'm incorrect. But still, I still like, again, I didn't play it until it was like on a Steam sale for far less than that.
True.
I just meant like for remakes and stuff like that. Like the only one I've ever played anything close to 70 was Demon Souls on PS5 because one, I got PS5 day one. There was barely any PS5 games. So I think the only two games I really bought, actually the only games I really bought on PS5 that were PS5 stuff was Miles Morales and Demon Souls. And that's about it because I'm a Demon Souls, Dark Souls person.
I didn't mean to cut you off, Dan.
No, it's cool. For me, it's just like, listen, it's expensive habit. Like, it is what it is. This shit costs money, bro. And it's just like, that's how I live life. If you can't afford the product, don't buy it. Maybe it's not the right product for you. If you can afford it and you want to get it, grab that shit. Like me, I like a premium experience. I've got PS5 day one. Am I getting The Last of Us when it comes out on PS5? 100%. Have I played it on PS3 and PS4? 100%. But you know what? I love that shit. I want to play the PS5 version of it. It looks sick.
No, and I understand it, but like a lot of people, just because you make money and can afford it,
but don't buy it.
Mean you have to buy it. That's what I'm saying. I just want to. I'm just trying to get away from the. Well, if you.
If you have the money. No. If you have the money, so it doesn't matter. Only because you have the money doesn't mean you need to spend the money.
Yeah, because like I said, I own like all the systems, and I own like a 3080. I had a 3090, but I didn't see the point. For that, whatever. But I just say, like, I hate throwing away money.
Can I just say one thing? When it comes to this extracurricular hobby, can we stop talking about money? This whole thing's a waste. Everything we do is a waste of money when it comes to games. We don't need to play games at all to live. So, like, can we get away from this whole money thing? Because if you have the money, buy it. If you don't, then don't buy it. But like, the value 100%. Of something doesn't matter. I mean, if I'm about to buy a 4090 when it comes out, I don't care if it's $3,000. It's my money. I'm gonna spend it. Like, if you don't think it's valuable, what's the perceived value to 100%?
The reason I say that is because I've gotten used to, just like, for example, I used to pirate videos and movies all the time, but then I started using streaming services. So, like, I use GameFly to do first-party Nintendo Switch games, and, like, I played Last of Us 2 and Ghost of Tsushima and most of the first-party story-based things on a $15 a month subscription to GameFly, and I didn't buy none of them games because I know I'm never going to play them again. Why pay $60, $70 for something I'm going to play one time when I can just rent it from another service?
But I'm not arguing that, but we're arguing the value of the game. Like, people are saying the game is not worth $7 because it's a remake, whatever. I think The Last of Us Part 1, even the remake, was pretty shoddy. Like, because I played it after the fact, right? Because I didn't get a PS4 until 2017 and never had a PS3. Like, the fucking game is janky. Let's just be honest. Like, it's an awesome story, great fucking suspense and atmosphere, but some of the combat and shit is janky as fuck. So I'm looking forward to an actual remake where they're using a new engine and shit. And I have Uncharted, Nathan Drake collection. I have Uncharted 4. I have Lost Legacy, and I just bought the Thieves collection. And I beat every single game on every single different version of it. Like, so I don't think that money really matters. If you don't want to buy it, then just don't buy it. But you can't. No,
but he's giving his reasoning on not.
No, I get that,
it.
but I hate when we talk about a general subject, but then people use their own like personal things. Like,
well, no, because I'm just trying to put it out there. Some people, but that's what I'm saying. Everybody's not going to buy it. Some people are going to buy it. Other people are not. That's what I'm saying. You can't say generally. Again, I say the same thing. Like, I'll give you an example. God of War, right? Say I love God of War. I have issues personally. If like a game comes out a year or so later on PC, and I see on PlayStation, if I have a PlayStation, it's on sale, it's been on PSN Plus, it's $20, but it comes out $60 on PC. I'm like, well, that game been out. I know it's a different platform, but like psychologically, I was like, I'm not going to spend all that full price money on something that I could have got on my other platform. And at this point, if I wanted to get it today, do what?
I said, isn't that the whole point? Like, if they're going to drop it on PC at higher, it's like, I could go there, or I could just play it on PlayStation.
But what I'm telling you, if it came in day and date, I would have bought it on PC because I prefer to play on PC. But I'm still also thinking about from a money standpoint. Just like when I play Game Pass, 90% of the time it's on PC. I don't pay on it.
You're saying what's saving me the most money? If I can get the same game.
Wait. I got a question. Is this the doing of Game Pass where people are penny pinching?
This is what I'm saying is
what's this all about?
What I would say is I'm older. I'm like 38. I have kids that play games. To me, subscription services are better for me because I used to buy all the games digitally, especially PlayStation 4. They would get on a backlog on PC and PlayStation, And then what would happen is by the time I got around to playing it, it was either on PSN Plus or it was like $15, $20 on sale. I'm like, I'm tired of buying all this money when it come out. I don't have time to play all these games. I don't have time like that. I've just gotten used to subscription services. So like I'm going to do the mid-tier PlayStation when that comes out, and I'm going to have Game Pass, and that's pretty much good enough. Like I'm like right now, I'm paying the Mass Effect collection right now. That's an old ass game, but I'm playing it right now and I'm enjoying it because there's enough games out there.
Can I ask you a question?
Sure, go ahead. Quickly.
Do you like movies or TV shows?
Oh, I know where you're going with this.
Sure, yes. I binge watch stuff.
Okay. For movies, right? What was the last movie you watched?
Jurassic Park with my son. The one that just came out like yesterday.
You know what I'm gonna say, right? I know you do.
Oh, sorry. Hold on. Before you go on, was it good? Was it a good movie? Because I might see that next week. Was it good?
It was okay to me. My son liked it because he's obsessed with dinosaurs. So anything dinosaur, he going 100%. It don't matter if it's trash.
Okay, I'm taking my kids to that.
Let me tell you something, Lazy. They will never get up to where Jurassic Park 1 was ever.
No, I know.
I watched the first one in theater. I know, because we're about the same age, right? Oh my gosh, man! I'm just thinking about like how masterful that fucking movie was. You know,
the original.
They kept it very simple. The concept was basically reanimating dinosaurs, right? And the situation was basically, should you even really do that shit? But just like in general, it was just masterfully done, man. The pacing, Jemiah, the pacing was amazing, absolutely amazing. And made it more enjoyable. But they start adding extra shit in there. I don't know, man. Maybe it's just today's time. Today's time is just. I think everything is shallow.
But what were you trying to get about for the TV and movie? Was that like related to what you were trying to say a second ago?
Yeah,
I understand that the Jurassic Park got us off the subject, but I'm just asking.
No, maybe it was right on time. How come you didn't wait for DVD or Blu-ray or streaming?
Because my son saw videos for it, and again, like I said, he's obsessed with dinosaurs. He's been asking me about taking him to see this movie where he could tell me the date it was coming out months ago. So if you have kids and they nag me about stuff all the time, if it ain't nothing like but a little bit to do that, enjoy that, go out with the kids, go, I'm going to do it. It's fine. Would I have seen it without my kids at the movie theater? Fuck no, I would have waited.
The movies are expensive as hell, especially with kids.
Well, so what I will say with that is I have a friend who does survey stuff for like AMC. And you do a couple surveys, I get free tickets, like a couple tickets a month.
Okay. What was the last
I'm always looking for a deal. I like I said, it don't matter how much money I make. I always look for a deal regardless. Because the way I grew up, I didn't grow up with money. So I'm never going to just like try and throw away money just to,
So I grew up I'm black, so I grew up in the hood. I throw away money.
Are you black though? Are you really?
I just spent like fucking almost $200 on fucking resin for my 3D printer. I don't give a fuck. Like, to me, money is irrelevant. I could die right now. You know what I mean? I'm gonna spend my money when I got it. I'm not gonna wait around and try to penny pinch and shit. If I want it, I'm just gonna go buy it.
My problem is I'd rather take that money and I invest. So like for Sony, right? If I like a new thing that's $67, awesome. I'm gonna buy $60 of they stock. I'm gonna buy whatever. Like I buy stock. I invest in the companies versus giving them the money. I let them make me money. Like I'll give an example. Allbirds, they make the little comfortable shoes or whatever, right? They like $100. I took a couple $100, made $100 something off that, sold that, used the profit I made off them to buy the shoe I want from them. I do the same thing on video games. So sometimes I'll buy Microsoft stock, I'll buy Sony stock, I'll buy whatever, make some money off them, and then rebuy their product with that.
Well, that's cool, but to me, money is irrelevant. Like I said, I don't look at money as it's just a tool. I don't really care. You know what I mean? Like.
So are you telling me that you're better than me, Lazy? Because I'm a consumer?
No. I didn't say that. I said the way I spend my money, I would rather do one thing versus another. Just like, for example, I don't eat out a lot. I don't do a lot of other things. But what I do spend a lot of money on is gaming stuff. Like I said, I have a gaming PC. I have a Quest. I have 3 Switches. My kids have their own Switches. I have a Series S, a Series X, a PS5. I buy a lot of that hardware. I have a pre-order for a Steam Deck. I buy a lot of hardware stuff. But there's certain things that I just choose not to spend money. Everybody has their vices of stuff they just spend on. Like, I know a friend of mine, he's a shoe person. Nothing against people to buy all the nice shoes. I don't buy, like, all these pairs of shoes. everybody has their thing that they boot, that their what their hobby is. What they
so basically, what you're telling me is because I'm stupid because I'm black, basically, right?
No, where
No,
are you getting
I'm playing.
I'm like, dude, what the fuck?
I'm sorry. No,
I
I get
just
what
said
you're
I spent God knows how much money on my PCs and all this other shit.
No, I'm fucking with you. Everybody can allocate money. I'm not a fan of telling people what they do with their money. If you want to save money or put it in stocks or whatever the case is, that's fine. There's certain things I won't spend money on, such as I don't fuck with clothes, man. T-shirts and jeans and keep it moving.
But this is my thing, Josh. Is when I look at a game, the price of it never comes into my concern when if I'm going to buy it or not. I go, do I like the game? Yes. Does it look good? Yes. Am I going to buy it on PC or my PS5? You know what I'm saying? Like, the cost of it is irrelevant. That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't understand why people always get caught up on the cost of things. Either you want to buy it or you don't. Like, you know what I mean?
And again, I that's what I was saying earlier. The reason I got to that point is because I'm a person that, like, every Tuesday when PlayStation would update their sales thing, I knew exactly during lunchtime when they would do it. I would be at work on my computer and I would buy a whole bunch of digital games on PlayStation. And after a couple of years, I would realize, even though I like those games, I bought them, half of them I never got around to playing, and I still haven't played from years ago. And I was like, I'm spending all this money when subscription services have been doing me all right for the last year or so, where I'm like, you know what? It makes more sense to me to do that. And then, for example, take that extra money I would have spent that maybe on games I didn't, and then maybe upgrade to a 4080 when that comes out for a new graphics card. So where it's like, or a Steam Deck.
Let me say this. So you say you're going to get the deluxe edition, right? Monthly or yearly?
For which one? I'm getting what?
The PlayStation Plus Deluxe or whatever.
I'm getting the mid-tier. I already have 3 years stacked of regular PlayStation. I'm just going to upgrade to mid-tier.
Okay, and are you buying that? Is it annually, or are you going to do it month to month?
I'm going to get it annually. It's because also one of my other sons has my old PS4 Pro. And most of the reason I do subscriptions is because of my kids. So my kids can...
I get it. Listen, Lazy.
Nobody cares what you do with your money. Yeah.
It sounds like you trying to explain it, so like fighting for it, man. We
don't care.
It's just basically for the people.
I'm going to get mid-tier because this is like the only reason I decided mid-tier, right? I had got Valhalla for a little bit, traded it in. I'm like, you know what? I might buy this again used. I'm like, oh, it's going to be on the service? All right. Well, I'm thinking about now that, what's that game that you guys are talking about? Returnal. I played that a little bit when it came out, fell off it. Once I heard it had co-op, I'm like, maybe I'll give that another shot. There's like nice. 3 or 4 games that I'm like, if I were to buy those used right now, that would come close to the cost I would buy for the service. I might as well just buy the service.
I'm going to talk about The Last of Us multiplayer again, and then we're going to go to the last.
Before we leave this topic, my thing is, I say, like, I had what's it called? Like EA Origins, fucking whatever. What the fuck was that shit called?
I don't know, like EA Play or Play Plus or whatever.
They changed the name, but it was like EA Origins Plus or some shit before. I mean, before they changed the name, and I got it because Anthem was $100 for the deluxe version, and the subscription was less for the whole year, right? So I just got it for the year so I could play Anthem. I never once downloaded any other game off that service. I just only got it for Anthem. You know what I mean? Like, my thing is, in the long run, I would rather buy the game or even buy it on sale and have the game forever than to put it in the service. Because Xbox could be like, you know what? Game Pass isn't working out. We're discontinuing Game Pass. And now you have no games. Even though you spent hundreds of dollars and subscriptions over the years, you're going to have 0 games. You have nothing to show for it. You know
here's my caveat for that. I primarily, the games I do buy are stuff like Destiny and like multiplayer games. Games that are story-based in nature. Like my favorite game of all time, Witcher 3. I had bought that just because it was so much different content, and I think I got Persona because it's a really long game. I usually only play through games, no matter how much I like it, maybe once, maybe twice. So if that game is on a subscription, I'm like, I wanted to get around to that. I see it on there. I'm going to play through it. And then if it's gone, I don't care because there's so many games out there. There's no way to play them all. I have kids. I have work. I have whatever. I'm going to play when it gets on the service. If it gets off the service, oh, well, there's probably 5 other games on my backlog I want to play.
Like, I beat Spider-Man. I beat that shit like 3 times. I got the plat twice. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
I play through Spider-Man, I play through Miles. I don't play them again. My kids play it all the time.
Now for me,
I
get what you're saying, but for the average person, most people will go back and replay a game more than once. You know what I mean? And you can't really do that if it wasn't a service and now it's gone. You know what I mean?
And that's a good thing too. That's a good thing.
I want to replay Spider-Man, but it's not in the service anymore. Now I might have to buy it for like $15.
But what you could do though is it stays on a subscription, right? Later down the line, it will be on a sale. So you could have maybe so you have the subscription, so you bought it for that one game. There may have been like 2 or 3 other games that you played outside of that one in that use case, right? If that game leaves it later, by that time it'll probably be on sale because the game ain't brand new. It's been out for a while. You can always just buy it at that point. Because again, that's assuming you're getting subscription, not just for one game.
But let's keep it a buck though. Most of these subscriptions don't have a lot of games that anybody wants to play. Like
that's a lie because I play stuff all the time on.
I mean, you might play the games, but I don't think like it's a fucking like I have to get Xbox Game Pass for this one game. I don't think any game in Game Pass will make me buy it or make me get it for that game. You know what I mean? Like I got a Gears 5. I beat Gears 5 and I beat Outer Worlds on Game Pass, but. You know what I mean? Like, do I want to play Outer Worlds again? Probably not, because the game wasn't good. Gears 5 was fucking janky as fuck. So, like, I get what you're saying, but like, I don't know. I just think like,
let me say this really. Let me say this really quickly. You're gonna have to
rebuy in the end when you leave that service,
and that's fine because he's willing to take that L though. That's the thing. But before we go on, Devil Shooter, what's going on, man? No, you do care about Peach Fuzz when you get a PS5. 3 months is very short, but I definitely understand that's what it's probably going to be. And people need to just understand the 3 month span is probably what it's going to be. That's a good medium between day and date and, exclusivity, right? Resident Evil 2 and 3 was $60 where we went through that. Lazy, are you going to get Resident Evil 4 Remake, or you just don't care? You don't care about that?
I'm going to get 4 Remake because I'm one of those people that never played 4. Because back when PS3 and those games were coming out, I was in college and didn't play as many games during that period of time. And ever since they had remakes of 2 and 3, I knew eventually they're going to make 4, just like Dead Space. I've never played Dead Space, and I'm like, I'm just going to wait for the remake and then I'll play it then because I never bought it or played it before.
What about Call of Duty, Modern Warfare 2?
I haven't cared about Call of Duty since the original Modern Warfare, like on 360.
All right, fine. That's all I want to say. What's going on, Extreme Gamer? And Umar, what's up? You know what it is, man. So I wanted to ask this, right? Do you ever use Uber Eats?
I use it sometimes.
All I'm saying is this, right? Is that when what it looks like what you're saying is that you're trying to save money or whatever the case is a waste of money. For me personally, I'm just going to explain what I do. Not to say it's better or worse, but what I do typically is this has come from me being a poor person, extremely fucking poor. That's what I was, right? So I didn't get I would go through a vetting process when it comes to buying games. So if I buy a game, it is 100%. I'm looking to buy and replay that bitch over and over and over again. I remember back in the day, back in 1998, where I played and beat Tomb Raider 3 on the PS1 like 8 times, and still would occasionally. Like I'm gonna go on a trip, and I got my Vita with me. I'm gonna play Tomb Raider 3 on the plane. You know what I'm saying? So for kids, yeah, I get it in terms of the subscription services, but I don't know. It almost felt like it's all like, I don't know. I know that's not your intention, but it was almost like, you're playing, you're buying these games, and that's not the smartest way of doing things. I mentioned
my problem is I used to buy a lot digitally on Steam and PlayStation, and I got burned because I just realized I never got around to playing, even if the games were like really games that I was like looking for from a time constraint. I work in cybersecurity. I work in IT where I work a lot, even after hours. So I don't have a lot of time. When I do, I'm very focused on what I'm playing. And then what I noticed is I would keep buying games that I just never got to. So something like a subscription works fine for me because with the amount of time I have, I may be able to only play through a handful of games a month.
But this is why I
stuff.
said I didn't want to have a conversation about what he likes. I want to generalize this into a general thing.
Yeah.
Because even if you have 200 games in a service, you're not going to be able to play all those games. You know what I mean?
And by the way, Lazy Jemiah, if you haven't spoken to him before, he will rightfully so generalize the situation. You know what I'm saying? Because there's too many people that have
because
too many.
For him it makes sense, but for some people they're gonna play fucking.
Everybody got their own reason.
And that's why I would say for me, not generally. Not I'm just saying.
Yeah. In this particular case, because I'm not a person of having a billion different caveats or whatever the case is for everyone's situation. Because there is a generalized answer to things. I don't think that you're doing it wrong. I think that you're in a minority. I honestly do when it comes to subscriptions, because people don't even use PlayStation Plus like that. They use it just to play online, really. And then inadvertently they get things on sale and stuff like that. But I mentioned Uber Eats is because I realized how much fucking money I was actually wasting. Like, it's an absurd amount of money I waste.
See, I would never use Uber Eats just because I don't trust people, so I don't need somebody else.
I'll do Uber Eats maybe once a week, once every 2 weeks, just because I have my kids. I have 2 children that are autistic, and sometimes taking them out and doing it's more of a hassle.
Because you gotta be there, and like I said before, it works. Certain things works, and you're willing to pay the extra money, rather than deal with the amount of inconvenience it is. You know what I'm saying? So,
I've been ordering groceries for years.
I don't look down on anybody that uses the subscription services, because again, I just want to make sure that if you're going to say something about the subscription services, let that shit be across the board. Like, I don't like the fact that when you hear other people talk about subscription services, they always say it's about saving money, but yet you see them do a whole bunch of wasteful fucking shit left and right. And it's like, come on, dude. Now, in terms of games and your time is also a currency too. So you want to make sure that you're maximizing your time here too. So I definitely get that avenue of things. But let's keep it a stack like what Jemiah said. A lot of people, again, you don't play games as much as you would like. And then on top of it, you got a lot of shit going on. You work a lot, and, you have special needs in situations. You know what I'm saying? And so you want to make sure that they always have something to play all the time. You know what I'm saying? Something to keep them occupied all the time. So I get it. At least you said that, and that was cleared up. But a lot of people act like they're saving money, and they start calculating, well, I saved $120 a year. And I'm like, shut the fuck up, because you buy Uber Eats 3 times a week. Don't talk to me about saving fucking money if you do shit like that.
That's why I was saying, anybody who ever said they do something to save money, everybody has a vice, or everybody has that 1 or 2 things that they spend their. I say vice, not in a negative way, but they have those things that their extra money goes to.
Yeah, no, motherfuckers like, yo, I got Game Pass, but he buying fucking 8 balls of Coke and shit. Like,
but it's a very annoying talking point with a lot of people that talk about subscription services. Like no, you just don't have enough time to play games, and you don't want to invest that much money because you don't have enough time to play that many games. It wouldn't make sense. Like, I'm not going to sit there and buy a whole bunch of fucking high brand express clothes when my ass works from home and go out once a month. The fuck point would that be? You know what I mean?
Yeah, most of my clothes are work clothes, or I work from home if I have to travel for work. So majority of my stuff is there. That's what I have.
Now, I'm not a fat bitch. I will say that. I keep myself on point, but I don't see the value in dumping a whole bunch of fucking money when I don't even use in clothes when I don't even use it. But
also, right now, is it Xbox down again? I just saw some Xbox support shit about fucking 2 hours ago. Xbox support came on and said, I know some people are having trouble fucking signing in. So you won't even be able to use this goddamn subscription service because the shit doesn't even work half the time.
But in that same caveat, I was trying to play Overwatch on PlayStation 2 days ago, and it was down for an hour for me.
I didn't get that shit.
But
he's not talking about PlayStation. He's talking about just subscription services.
Yeah, like if your shit goes down, you can't use the shit. And a lot of these things have check-ins and shit. Like, what if your internet just goes down? Like, and the internet company itself is down. Comcast is always going down and shit. And now you can't play shit. You know what I mean?
Well, here's the thing: is also a lot of the games I play are also multiplayer. Like for the story ones, I play them one and done. But I spend more time playing like a Destiny or an Overwatch or whatever. Like
Not
online
today,
games where if online is out, it's out anyway. It doesn't matter if it's the service.
Yeah, but if you have like that, that whole fucking desk full of games, you know what I mean? Like I buy all my games physical, so I can just pop that shit whenever I want. You know what I mean? So I don't have to worry about.
Like I said, I have a couple games. Like for example, the recent games I bought, like Elden Ring, I bought that because I knew I was going to sink a bunch of hours. I have like 70, 80 hours in that, and I like that game. Games that I know that I'm gonna spend 50 hours plus in.
Yo, lazy. Once again, like I said, imagine if you have an Xbox Series S, right, and then shit's down. What are you gonna do then?
What do you mean? What am I do then?
Not you, but like if somebody has an Xbox Series S and the Xbox servers go down, you can't do anything. It's a fucking brick at that point.
And then, but again, you could say the same thing getting the service for PSN Plus. If people get that service, it's going to be the same.
I know, but he's not talking about. He's not talking about PlayStation versus Xbox.
He's talking about Plus. It could be fucking.
It could be anything.
Nvidia fucking stream. It could be fucking whatever the fuck. I'm just saying, like these services and shits are so innately tied with the online that it's not a good look to me when shit goes down. You now are cut off from these games, no matter what service you have.
The same thing for me because all of my TV is streaming. When stuff goes down, I'm screwed.
Yeah, but I'm not talking about you. Like I said, I keep saying I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about the general audience. All these people who got these S's and shit, and they only got Game Pass, and they never bought a game. Now this shit's down, and now you can't do anything but fucking look at the fucking the paint dry. That's what I'm saying. Like it's not about you. It's about the general consensus of the general audience. These streaming services are good in theory, but at the end of the day, there's a lot of things that are involved in this shit. You know what I mean?
No, understand. Just like if there's people that just play Call of Duty, if internet services go down, they can't play the Call of Duty online.
Yeah, for me personally, like I said,
we could play the single player campaign. I'll get bored.
But come on now, people ain't playing Call of Duty just to play the campaigns over and over.
I only play the campaign for Call of Duty. Like I don't even play any.
Now again, I'm getting back general. I'm not saying you.
These.
All right, what happened? Oh, am I the only one that heard that shit?
He bought it for a second.
Okay, cool. I thought it was my fucking connection. All right, so one of the things I want to say this is one of the things I want to say, right? Let me mute my TV here. I'm sitting there playing Guilty Gear while I'm doing this fucking shit. I want to say this, and then we're going to go to the topic that you originally came in here for, Lazy. I have a picture up, which I should retweet this bitch. Let me tweet it.
I know. What's up, my...
That'd be like that. I think that's not even a you thing, man. I think that's a Twitter thing, man, to be honest.
Yeah, Twitter's pretty bad for me on Android. Like I can't if I'm a speaker, I can't connect Bluetooth at all. It doesn't work on Pixel phones or the new Pixels.
I mean, it should work too, because like it's whatever. Anyway, so I posted this into the let me just let this load up here. Make sure that goes. So this is a picture of The Last of Us Part 2, or Last of Us Factions. And there's a lot to unpack in this bitch. This claims to be a whole map, right? This is a whole map that you could actually fuck around with. And what I noticed in the picture, you have the black girl with a sniper, right? And then you have the guy behind her, the white dude with the Molotov and the arrow. There's two things I'm going to ask you guys, but I'm going to say what I'm going to say. You have the cloud in the background. I told you before that Thrash said that he thinks it's going to be like Fortnite, where the cloud starts to engulf the playing area. You know what I'm saying? It makes it inhabitable for the other areas. But I do think, looking at the pictures, you have like little openings and windows and shit like that where you can probably scavenge for better weapons and whatever the case is, right? You also have zombies at the bottom too, so it looks like there's a PvP and PvE situation going on as well, and it looks like it's a very sizable level at that. What I can gather is that this game is most likely going to be, again, PvP, PvE situation. It is also going to be like the Fortnite situation that Thrash said before, and I see class-based. I feel like this game is going to be a class-based. She's a sniper, you know what I'm saying? He's like the kind of like the scout or whatever the case is. I think it's going to be class based. And who knows what other classes they got going on in there. So what do you guys think of that shit?
I've never been into those kind of games. I don't play.
No!
I don't play all those. That's not what I like that IP for. I like that IP for story-based stuff. I don't like it for the multiplayer.
They said that the story is supposed to be really fucking good in this particular game. That's what they said. It's supposed to be really good.
But is it like a story where you're doing multiplayer? Then, like, is it like a Final Fantasy 14 where it has stuff online multiplayer? I mean, I'm not in the same whatever, but what I'm getting is I'm trying to understand: is this like a straight up multiplayer, or does it have campaign? Like, what is?
It's supposedly a hybrid of both. It's supposed to be a story driven multiplayer game.
I mean, I'll see, but I just haven't known Naughty Dog for multiplayer. There hasn't been any Naughty Dog multiplayer that I've liked.
The Last of Us was really fucking good to me. I will say that. The Factions.
I didn't like Factions, or I didn't like the multiplayer that was on the old ones. I didn't.
Lazy, you're a Destiny fan as well as I am. Would you like something like sort of the PvE/PvP? Because I know you're more story focused.
I like PvE more. I like PvE more than PvP because as I've gotten older, I've gotten trashier and trashier in PvP. So I prefer PvE, collective, like Division, like Destiny, like Overwatch, even in groups and stuff. I like that type stuff more than me individually doing whatever.
Yeah, I'm exactly the same. I'm a Destiny player, and I'm exactly the same. To be fair with you.
Like, I'm a tank healer in Overwatch. I don't do DPS. I don't be trying to kill people. I try to keep them alive or fuck them up as a tank.
But I feel like what Sony and Naughty Dog are doing with this game, and this is why it's taken so long to come out. I really think, it's a multiplayer game, but for them to be taking this long, it's going to have a serious amount of story content. I believe so. I already told you
what ended up happening. They lost a lot of their groups, according to Jason Schreier, and he be on point with it with his with his situations, man. He knows exactly what somebody's be leaking the fuck out of this stuff. So that's what I think is going on here.
Do you think it's somebody high up at Sony? Because Schreier gets a lot of shit on Sony. Do you think it's somebody quite high up, or do you think it's
yeah. I think it's actually controlled information.
I hope it's a good game because like I like Ghost of Tsushima multiplayer.
Yeah, I think well that was PvE though. You know what I mean? So you can go at your own
like
pace.
I said before, I like PvE more, but I mean it's a mix,
Like I think that there's a lot of I don't know. I don't want to just give up and say that I'm getting old, you know what I'm saying? And I can't do it anymore. I feel like if I really wanted to, because there's a lot of older people because I don't think 38 and 37 is old, you know what I'm saying? But I get what you're saying. Yeah. I was never like really that big.
I was never God tier on Call of Duty back in the day anyway. So it's all gone downhill from there.
And this is how they do things. I have like morals, man. Like I don't like when people just find a best weapon and just spam it. I can't do that. I can't do that. Jemiah, what you think about this shit, yo? Is he in there? No, he probably. Oh shit! You know what? He probably requesting to go in there. Hold on. Let me see. Did he request? No, he ain't request. That's cool. Oh, yeah, he did request. Add as a speaker. My bad. All right, cool. Jemiah, you there? Jemiah, you there?
You hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
I took my PS5 on this and messaged you like, yo, can I get back in this bitch? I messaged you on YouTube.
I'm sitting there playing.
I'm like, you sitting over here playing Guilty Gear and shit. I should get that shit, beat your ass.
Did you hear what I was saying about what do you think about the last?
Yeah, I agree with Dan. I think it's gonna be like a Destiny type of thing where you're gonna have a lot of PvP type of things. They're gonna expand the story through like PvP. You know what I mean? PvE. So if that's the case, I'm in for that. But like it's just straight. I just like old boy said, lazy. Multiplayer games, I used to be into like Unreal and shit like that, and Quake and shit. You know, like I just had my fill of first-person shooters and shit. Like nowadays, there's just a bunch of people running around using fucking cheats and shit. Anyways, so it's just kind of annoying. So, but if there's some PvE shit going on, I'm definitely down for that. I like Destiny, or like even Division. I'm way in for that. I think that'd be dope as fuck.
It's probably gonna be like a Division, if anything. That's
like
what I
that'd
believe.
be dope as shit. Like you said, you have class systems and shit.
And if
Yeah,
it
definitely
is,
bull-
I'm
Yeah, you
down
have
for
a
that.
class system,
that'd be
and you
sick,
can build your fucking your fucking player up and shit, and that'd be dope as fuck, bro.
I was thinking about that too. As much as I have issues with Naughty Dog, if you have a building, and I think, well, that's my second question. If they have you have to actually adventure and go in and look at actually find your shit and then avoid zombies and avoid people. I think it'll be nice. I think they have.
Do you think this
a
will be
winner on the end.
Sony's version of State of Decay on steroids, basically?
I haven't played State of Decay. So what was that like?
I've never actually played it, but from what I've actually seen of State of Decay, it's that sort of like Walking Dead survival sort of multiplayer sort of game, but it seems very AA still. But obviously with Naughty Dog's production, I don't know. I can see that sort of.
No,
niche.
I think that basically they're going to have seasons. That's what I think they're going to have. They're going to end up having seasons, and the season's going to have storylines and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? And maybe, you know what I'm saying?
Now,
and maybe this happens, you got objectives.
This is what I would do, right? So it's called factions, obviously, right? So you have maybe 4 or 5 major factions, right? You all have different parts of the city, and you got to go on missions and shit to upgrade the overall faction's base. You get access to new weapons, new fucking workshops, like new fucking work tables and shit. So the more you go into the city, the more you go into the city and do missions and shit, you come back, your base is better, you get better shit, better equipment, and over time, like you can become the dominant faction and take over other people's areas too. That'd be fucking dope as shit.
Like, even I started seeing that, I was like, they may got something. I was like, they may got it. They may got this.
I mean,
so
hopefully these knuckleheads at Naughty Dog could think of this too.
Yeah, Josh, would that make you go back to Naughty Dog or at least give it a try?
I think personally, this bitch is fucking me up. I think honestly, I would. He's really fucking me up. Oh hell no, bitch, die, bitch.
Also, do you guys believe that this game's going to be free to play? And obviously,
that was my next question. That's my next question.
I doubt that.
With season passes,
What if it's on PC at the same time? What about that?
It's not going to be free to play.
It's not going to be the free play. The least case common denominator, it'll be maybe the base of it will be on the mid to higher tier of PS Plus. That's like at the very least, but it'll never be like free to play. They'll at least get something off of it.
Because I think but if they're going to harness as well like the expertise of Bungie, obviously Bungie was obviously paid before, but their whole model is now free to play. And if you look don't
the expansions cost money though?
Yeah, they cost money, but as a base layer to just release and to get traction, I think it's going to be free to play. Because
I do too.
Sony want to swing their dick.
Sounds so terrible. Free to play has a bad connotations to it. When I hear free to play, I go, I don't want to do that.
But a lot of people play stuff like Warframe.
But let's not forget, Sony love metrics. They like seeing their shit top 10, top 3, top 4. They want to see that. And the reality is, if they release this game and you have to pay for it, it's not gonna get the top 5. It's not gonna get the top 3.
You pay for Call of Duty every year. What are you talking about?
I'm talking about free to no, dude. I'm talking about free to play. Like if you look at free to play.
No, I get that, but you're saying that it for the chart is gonna have to be free to play. I don't agree with that. If the game is
Sony making 10 live
money.
Sony already said they're making 10 live service games. Now, just the rule of the average numbers is out of those 10 live service games, they might, if they're lucky, they might get 3 or 4 that are really popular.
But look at Final Fantasy 14. That costs a subscription fee, and that shit's going gangbusters. Elder Scrolls Online, even WoW still has numbers. So like,
but even stuff like
not in the console space.
But even Final Fantasy 14, when it first came out, did not do well. They had to put a lot of investment, a lot of time to get that shit turned around. In the beginning, they have to so if they're not traditionally known for multiplayer, so they say this is the thing they're doing, right? They have to get an audience first before they do all that. Where like they may not get that.
Naughty Dog has 2 multiplayer games, Uncharted and Last of Us, and those games are both considered excellent among multiplayer.
but they're not
multiplayer,
doing
like
Call of
it's for
Duty.
the story, not the multiplayer. At least from
This is their first focus multiplayer game. This is not stapled on. This is not attack. This is just a multiplayer game.
Well, which again, which is why I said I would wait because they haven't proved to me.
Free to play.
Well, this is what I said. I would wait and see because they have not proved to me as a studio they can do the quality of a multiplayer centric game where that's their focus. They don't have other games that I would point to that's like that is my ideal multiplayer experience. They've created.
Yeah, they will have to prove to you, but you have to admit one thing. Sony has given them a lot of how can I put it? Sony have given them a lot of backing and expertise of how they can make it a good game.
But the thing is, also,
just that Bungie influence alone is huge.
The reason why there's such a call for factions too is because Factions 1 was so good. So you can't say that they don't have experience with this shit because people still play Factions to this day. They go crazy for that shit. So for you to say that they don't have experience, I think that's a little
what I'm saying when I say that,
I think he means on a grand scale, but
we're basically the selling point of the Last of Us game, where the only reason anybody ever bought it was because the factions. They didn't give a shit about. It's like some people play Call of Duty, the campaign, and some people never touch it. But it's like saying that people only bought Call of Duty because of the campaign, when most people know majority of the time people spending that game's in multiplayer. It's the opposite of that statement where most people buy.
A lot of people complained about it too. So
about what, the multiplayer part or
when you took out the campaign for Call of Duty for that one iteration, people got pissed.
Yeah.
So I think there's room for both sides of the argument, but I think that Naughty Dog definitely won't put this game free to play. They put too much resources into this shit. They're wasting so much time not making other games right now. They could be making Uncharted 5. They could be making fucking Lost Legacy 2, and they're spending all their time making this dumbass game just to make it free to play. I don't think so.
And that's why
this is my argument.
No, that's why I said I don't think it would be free to play. The closest to free to play they will get, it just like they're putting Stray on with the mid and higher tier, whatever, right? Giving you that.
Which I'm buying.
They will get a subscription out of somebody.
No, I
think like you, they're going to not do that. But I'm saying I'll take that before I'll expect them to do free to play.
I can agree with that.
I can agree with that as well, to be fair. That's a good point.
Plus, they could probably try to get.
Now that they have that subscription, they have more wiggle room to do something in a free-to-play fashion. The fuck premium.
That's going to be PS Plus premium, bud.
Well, the reason I don't think they're going to do that is because they kept heavily trying to differentiate this only PlayStation 2 and all this other streaming, whatever. I don't know. That's the reason
mad as hell. I think the easiest way to really do this is what Dan was saying, because you know what's going to happen? The people are going to complain about that shit. It's going to be a bad look. Oh, they trying to get you to buy it. They putting it behind a paywall because it wasn't going to be successful and all other shit. I'm sure they're going to do some dumbass shit like that anyway. The media.
People complain or whatever. It's like people complain about free-to-play games or gotcha games.
Bro,
like Genshin Impact or something.
Play, Josh. They can have strippers bring it to your house. They can have a pro player guide you and teach you, and people will still complain about shit. Like, people's complaints sometimes is you know what I'm saying, like nonsense.
But you have to remember sometimes that these guys are.
I gotta pay money to enjoy entertainment. Yes, bitch.
Yeah, but the narrative is right now, like, we're thinking as gamers, the people in the boardrooms and the directors and the top shareholders, not us guys that putting in a little $200 here and there. Actual people that have fucking money in this shit. Dude, they're saying, look, we can't release this game for $50, $70 because in their head, even though it's not the same type of game, they're thinking, we need a Fortnite. That's what they're thinking. We need an Apex Legends. We need something. That's what we need. We need that because that generates cash.
Yeah,
hold on, wait. Hold on. Ken, what you gotta say about this?
Yo, can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Yo, what's up, man?
A couple of bags of chips.
Yo, it's been a while since I've been in one of the spaces like this, man. What's going on with you guys, man?
Yo, Ken, what's good, baby?
What's up, bro?
What?
you were saying what? What was it that you were asking me about again?
The Last of Us, because this is what I was saying. They show screenshots of The Last of Us, the multiplayer or whatever the case is. They show screenshots, and there's a lot to unpack with it. So from what I can see here is that there's a large area. Thrash mentioned that he thinks is going to be like kind of like Fortnite, where you have like the fucking force field around the level, and it just gets smaller, and you have to be basically like packed in. But in this case, it's like the what do we call it, the smog or whatever the fucking fungus is. That's the fucking force field. Also, you have the two people on the roof. One person is doing the snipers, the other one has a Molotov and what do you call it, the arrows or whatever the case is. So it looks like the game basically has like a class system. So we was like, I believe personally it's going to be all those things. And they said something about the game having like heavy storyline elements. So I think every season is going to have a storyline. You know what I'm saying? And that's how they're going to, make it viable and stuff like that. So the argument here is, A, what do you think about this, right? And then B, like, do you think it's going to be free to play, or are they going to have like a basic version and a subscription service, or you have to pay for it?
Personally, man, I think it's going to be like a mixture between something like how Warzone is structured. You know what I mean? Kind of like where you do have a class system and stuff like that to a degree. And I think there's going to be a lot of verticality in the gameplay. You know what I'm saying? I think they're going to add a lot of vertical aspects to the game. I think it will also kind of be a little bit like what Destiny did with their Gambit mode, where it's like a mixture between you playing against other players and like against what you call it.
Oh yeah, they have. You can see the zombies on the ground too.
Yeah. So like against the zombies as well as the other players. So PvP and PvE, like a little mixture between both of those. So that's what I think it's going to be personally. I think obviously they've already said before that a lot of their stuff is they're going to stick to what they know. You know what I'm saying, with the whole narrative stuff. So I think obviously there's going to be a lot of narrative based things with the multiplayer. But that's what I think. As far as it being free to play, in my personal opinion, I don't think that they're going to do free to play. Not at first, anyway. I think more than likely, if they do it, it's going to be later on down the line. Because I think what they're trying to do is gauge the success of the multiplayer before they actually make that move. But that's what I think.
Okay. Well, it looks like we kind of exhausted that particular topic. And what I wanted to actually talk about is the last thing. This is what Lazy was talking about. And one of the things I want to say is that I said this earlier in the podcast, that I believe that when Sony was trying to do this whole cutting edge thing with the PS4 and the PS4 Pro and the PS5 and stuff like that, right? I think that Sony has created this situation with pushed people inadvertently. I don't think they want to do it purposefully, obviously. But I think more people that were on the console, because they got a little taste of this shit, they want to essentially, buy a PC. And that's my situation. This is what my argument is. So what do you guys think of that?
To me, the argument for PC has always been in what people usually think of a no compromise. So as these new generations came out and they started adding these fidelity, ray tracing, whatever, they started getting and noticing that a lot of those options that people were having on PC for years, they're starting to get on consoles. But then also some people would be like, hey, on PC, I don't have to choose. I can have it all in one. And some people started being like, well, I want that option too. That's like for example, not PlayStation, but Switch, Monster Hunter Rise. I didn't buy Monster Hunter Rise on Switch. I waited for it to get on PC because it ran like trash on that hardware in comparison.
Let me ask you, Josh, man, is your question kind of like related to, people sort of coming up with this idea of it'll devalue the platform or whatever, or is it just like what exactly are you asking?
Partially. You weren't here when I was in here. It was partially that. So, but it's like now people feel like it's been devalued, that they'd rather just do it on PC, because they feel like what's the point of having a console?
Yeah, and I think earlier in the conversation, you're like, people were like, well, if it comes day and date on PC, or if it's coming to PC, I'm just not going to buy a PC. I mean, not a PC, a PlayStation, or I'm going to sell my PlayStation because why do I got a PlayStation if people can play it on PC too?
I mean, look, man, my whole argument with is the same. I mean, the consoles are there for a reason. You know what I mean? Not everybody's going to go out and spend whatever, $1,200, $1,500, $2,000 on a PC. You know what I'm saying? I think all of these guys, man, who are out here like, oh, I'm going to go buy a PC. No, they're not.
Well, at the end of the day, PlayStation don't care as long as you buy their games.
Those guys are just, having a temper tantrum on fucking Twitter, man.
It's like half the people could switch to PC right now from PlayStation, and they still going to buy. The only difference is if they don't have a storefront, they're not going to make their cut on third party. So I can see the point there. But if we're just talking about first party, worst case scenario, they do a deal with Epic or they do their own little launcher thing on PC. That way they ain't got to pay their cut, and then they'd be good to go.
Yeah, I doubt that.
Well, that's probably why they've been investing so much money into Epic.
Maybe that's
the long game.
Time out real quick. I think you guys are come to this. If anybody thinks that Sony putting games on Epic is gonna somehow override Steam, you're smoking so much crack.
I didn't say that. I was saying if they end up doing.
No, what I'm saying is people keep saying, "Oh, they're gonna go with Epic this." You have to come talk to the king first. You have to come talk to the mob boss. You gotta come kiss the ring before you put anything on PC, bro.
But, dude, it's about options.
That simple.
But bro, listen. Yeah, but it's about options. Sony don't care. They take money from Steam. They can take a higher percentage from Epic.
No, but what I'm saying that they're gonna cut out. They're gonna cut out Steam and cut out.
They're not gonna cut out nobody. No. But you're missing the point. They don't need to cut out Steam. They're already shareholders with Epic. They can still sell their shit on Steam, but anything they make from Epic, that's just extra money in their bank. They don't care.
Just like for example.
Yeah,
and this is what I think. This is why the reason I say this. If they start doing more and more stuff on PC closer to release or whatever like that, and they do a deal with Epic or they do their own launcher, then also this revenue they're getting from like their subscription, where they have their older games and stuff like that from like Premiere or Plus and all that stuff like that, they can start bundling with that access to those games, like how Game Pass does that for their Game Pass stuff on PC. They could do that, and they could get more subscriptions off money doing on that from the PC market as well.
I people don't care. Guys are like trying to treat the PC market as like the console market or something. I just don't feel like whatever.
But there's more people like PCs
for example, look, EA sell games on their own PC launcher. They also sell games on Steam. They also sell games on Xbox. It doesn't matter. However you want to buy the game, they don't give a shit. They just want you to buy the game, bro.
No,
Are they gonna make more money? Are they gonna make more money if you buy Madden or FIFA on EA Origin? Of course they are, because they haven't got to pay a fee. But guess what? They don't care, because FIFA, for example, can still be number 2 in the Steam charts for sports. They don't care, bro.
I mean,
they don't care.
Their goal
my thing is, a lot of people are making this argument saying that they're not getting the value back, so they need to make their own launcher and cut everybody out. That's what I'm saying. Like, this is not your argument.
Oh, no.
A lot of people have said that they need to make their own launcher, cut out Steam, and then have all the profits to themselves, which is not
they should. I think they should make their own launcher, but then also have Steam, also have PlayStation, also it doesn't matter, like, because they're going to get more money to invest in what? Better games.
Regardless of the fact of the money, we're not. We should. I don't know how we got to this, but
but the money is important. But the money is important. Like, we try to ignore it, but
no. But that's not Josh's argument, though. Josh's argument is people going to PC, not how much money Sony's going to make on PC. I can give a fuck less. My thing is, I don't see people. If you haven't bought if you're in your 30s, right, and you haven't bought a PC up to this date, these games going day and date is not going to make you go to PC, in my opinion. And then when you get the PC, if you do go over there, you're going to fucking hate it. Because
100%,
you have no reason. You have no reason to get a PC. So why would just certain games make you go to PC?
Because they're just capping, bro.
I don't get that argument, but there's also some people that only play on PC and don't play console, where they can still get sales there. I still don't agree with people moving to PC, but I think in total they could get more sales in general from PC gamers that maybe don't play on console.
Oh, they will.
Yeah.
They will.
I think, man, you know, what you call it? The people, like, kind of like what Jemiah said, man. Like, if they haven't gone to PC from now on, I mean, like now, before, whatever the case, like
They're not gonna do it, man. Yeah.
I think it's the same thing with the PC crowd, man. I think these guys who are on PC, you know, they're not gonna move over to console if they haven't done it already. So I think, you know, obviously, Sony is trying to like bridge the gap a little bit between both of them, you know. So.
And I already said my piece.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, man, I mean, the console has its place in the market. You know what I'm saying? It's cheap. It's you know, easily accessible, stuff like that, right? You know, obviously the PC is a lot more customizable. It's more expensive as well.
Yeah, but for the average consumer, they're gonna go for the console. Like that's always gonna be the case.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like all these guys who are on here who are complaining about, like, you know, even let's just say that they put their games day and date on PC, that they're gonna go to PC. I don't think that's the case, man. You know,
dude, they're capping, man. They're just having Twitter tantrum.
Yeah, it's like saying since airplanes were invented, they no longer use trains. Like, come on, bro. Like, it's like I have a car, so I'm gonna throw my bike in the trash can. Like, it's just dumb as shit.
Yeah, it's true, man. It's true.
That's why I was saying earlier that this is a disingenuous ass argument altogether. You know what I'm saying? These people, and you know, shout out to the what was it, Link that came in there. No shade to you or whatever the case is, because I was in my fanboy feelings or whatever the case is. I almost fell for that shit. Like, why the fuck do I have the console if they, you know what I mean? It was a lot of ramifications. I thought that they were going to target the console the way that it should be. I thought that, you know, they were going to allocate resources to the PC. I was thinking, like, if the console don't do well, then the games will do well, which means ultimately I won't get it. And it was just kind of like in my head, at least this is where I came from. It was basically forcing people to buy the games if it was stuck on the console, you know, and to fuel my need to have the games, you know, continue to exist. And I'm just being honest. That's just, you know what I mean? I was one of the things that people can sit there and say, I'm an honest dude. That's exactly what I fucking thought. But then I thought about it. I was like, you know what? Back in the day, and, you know, when I had my PlayStation, I was like, motherfucker, I played Tomb Raider back in the day, fucking with shaky ass textures and shit like that, low resolution, horrible frame rate.
And triangle titties.
And triangle titties. I could have easily got it on PC or whatever the case is, right? Had a higher frame rate or whatever the case is, and it looked better. They had normal maps. They had bump mapping back then. I think, no, it was bump mapping. They had all this other shit, and I could have easily just got it there, but I just I like the experience with the console. To me, it was like it really wasn't a point for me to get it on a PC. It cost too much damn money, and I didn't have the money to spend anyway. So I was like, well, the experience is there. But for the people that's being extra disingenuous and claiming that, I'm not going to get a fucking console. I mean, I'm not going to, I'm not going to get it because, what do you call it? I'm not going to get this shit because it's on PC or whatever like that. What's the point? You know?
Yeah, everybody going live today. That's crazy. Yo, I have a quick thing.
You know what, man?
A quick thing real quick. Like Lost the Thieves. What's the shit called? Thieves Legacy. Fucking what's that shit called?
The Legacy of
yeah, that shit. It was announced for PC. I still bought it on my PS5 because I wanted to play it right now. I didn't want to wait for it to come out whenever it comes out on PC. You know what I mean? So like, and I prefer PC over consoles. So I just think that people get on Twitter and they straight cap about shit, and then they don't do it. You know what I mean? Like.
I know many people said that they were going to sell their PS5s when they first started doing this shit, and I was like, "This is the dumbest fucking thing I've ever heard." Now I get it, but here's the thing: this is the copium that people actually dealt with. They said, "I know that Sony's doing it, but as long as they keep that shit, you know, what I mean, spaced off like 2 years, it'll give me validation for owning a console, and I can still say that there's some exclusivity." So that being said, Jemiah, what do you got to say about that? Is he here?
My bad, I had walked away. For my phone. I think the thing is, like, when it becomes, like you said, if it becomes 3 months, it's still gonna be, well, it's 3 months. You know what I mean? Like, I just don't understand. If a game, people keep saying you played an old ass game. Did the game get worse? Did Spider-Man get bad over the last 4 years? Did I miss something?
It did.
Is the game now trash because it's been out for fucking 4 years?
Apparently,
But
it
yet
is.
they'll go back and they'll cry to Sony and cry to Xbox. We want game preservation. We want PS1 games. We want PS2 games. We want PS3. So you waited fucking 20 years to play this game? Like that's it's the dumbest arguments that these people use, bro. Like, just say you hurt. Just admit that you're hurt. Just to say it, and I'll leave you alone. You know what I mean?
It really is boiled down. I mean, I'm
Well,
glad.
down to PlayStation doesn't care because as long as you buy the game wherever you buy it and they get their money, boo fucking who?
They think, and Jemiah, I know, Jemiah, you about to head out of here and shit like that, yo. I just wanted to basically get your input, and I'm not gonna extend this. I was only supposed to do this shit for an hour and a half. I'm glad you guys showed up, especially you got the normals like Jemiah and whatnot. But I'm really glad that you jumped in on here, Lazy. I don't think I've spoken to you before.
To Lazy's point, that we all seen the fucking pie chart. The hardware sales aren't really shit. They make more on fucking microtransactions. So, like, I don't think hardware really is the determining factor going to the future. It's going to be software sales. It's going to be add-ons. It's going to be shit like that, live service. So we all see where the money's coming from, and this is the result of modern age. You know, things change.
Yeah,
no problem. And again, I always caveat when I say shit. I work for Microsoft. I do no gaming. I do cybersecurity. But people always try and get on me because I work for Microsoft that I'm a shill for Xbox or whatever. But I'm like,
even if you were, but even if you were a shill for Xbox, right? At least you getting a fucking bank and some pays, some coin.
You definitely a shill for. He's an ambassador.
Fucking niggas.
I told you. I used to pay for Game Pass as a Microsoft employee. All Microsoft employees get free Game Pass ultimately. So I no longer have to pay, but I was paying for it up until like 2 months ago.
Right. So, I mean, I'm not, look, you could be, look, at least you work for the fucking company. And that would make sense. Logistical sense. I understand that portion. I get it. That's fine. You know what I'm saying? It's when you don't work for the fucking company and you're doing, you sitting there twerking out of Microsoft Studios and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? And you dancing for clicks for whatever fucking reason. At least you got a reason for it. And this conversation, and every time someone favors Xbox, are the most they become so reasonable jumping into these spaces. It's weird. Cause I'll be ready with my fucking fist up, ready to fucking fight, yo. Y'all motherfuckers be sophistifunk and shit. You know what I mean?
Well, don't get me wrong. I love PlayStation. You know, I just prefer Xbox.
You know, every time, yo, I feel like I haven't seen you say anything on Twitter or whatever, but like I've seen the other people be as cordial as you are now and as logical as you, except for that one guy, as logical as you want to be, and then on Twitter, guess what? I can't wait to play this on PC using my Xbox controller. I'm like,
yo,
okay.
be like, I thought Tony said.
Yeah, it's so dumb. So that's what I'm glad you were in there. You made the conversation a lot more interesting than because it would seem one-sided if you weren't here. You know what I'm saying? You know, but yeah, I appreciate it. I appreciate the follows. I followed you back and stuff like that. I appreciate all of this shit. But I'm on a fucking tight ass schedule. Fuck, I don't want to have another issue on these fucking planes. I can't. But but yeah, thank you guys for jumping in. I know there's other spaces going on right now. You guys chose me.
We only did it because of your profile picture.
This is true. You know, I made sure I oiled up. But yo, thank you guys for joining in here. Time for me to play some PlayStation. And I'm out of here, guys. Don't forget to go on the YouTube channel. This is all recorded. If you want to hear all the conversation, it'll be there for you. It's Gamecast.